today's class we will start discussion on the hydrokinetics, or you can call it as the fluid dynamics, or simply call it as the kinetics. So in the earlier classes we have started the discussion on hydrokinematics. So in the hydrokinematics we have studied the geometry of the motion of the fluid without considering the external force which is causing the motion. But in case of the hydrokinetics, so again it is same, it is the study of motion of fluid, but considering the external forces which are causing the motion, So the basic equation we are using in the hydrokinetics is the Newton's second law of motion. Okay, the basic theorem, or the basic principle, that is the law of conservation of momentum. Okay, so hydrokinetics is that branch of fluid mechanics. In this, the study deals with the geometry of motion of the fluid when it is under the motion, without considering the external force which is causing the motion. That is called hydrokinematics. There we have calculated the velocity components, acceleration components, stream function, velocity potential function, continuity equation, three-dimensional to one-dimensional, etc. So now in this unit 3, that is the hydrokinetics, the considering the external force which is causing the motion, then the study of that motion is called hydrokinetics or fluid dynamics. So the basic equation, see, when the various external forces are going to act on the fluid mass when it is under the motion, there is variation of acceleration and energy. There is a variation of when the fluid is under the motion, because of the external forces which are acting on that fluid mass, there is variation in acceleration and also energy. So that study involves the study of hydrokinetics or hydrodynamics. Basically, we are using the Newton's second law of motion. That is Newton's second law of motion. It states force is equal to mass into acceleration. Okay, so in this unit, we are deriving two important equations. That is, one is the Euler's motion equation, and another one is the Bernoulli's energy equation. Okay, the basic principle is Newton's second law of motion. That is, the force is equal to mass into acceleration. As we know, force is a vector, so this is vector. Force vector is equal to mass, it is a scalar term. Acceleration is again vector. So if force is a vector, means it is having the three components, that is Fx is equal to, that is the force in the x direction. Mass is same, m into ax. Acceleration is the acceleration in the x component. So Fy is equal to m into ay, Fz is equal to m into az. Okay, so this is the Newton, as per the Newton's second law of motion. Newton's second law of motion, right? Okay. Then next, these are the, you can call these set of equations 1. Okay, set of equation 1, or you can call this as equation 1 and this is the equation 2. Normally, in the study of fluid dynamics, we are considering mass per unit volume, that is Fx is equal to rho Ax, Fy rho Ay, Fz is equal to rho Az. Okay, mass per unit volume, that is the mass density. Mass per unit volume is the mass density. So rho Ax, rho Ay, rho Az. So in the fluid motion, forces per unit volume, normally we are considering forces per unit volume. Okay, when the fluid is under the motion, it is that fluid, the various external forces are going to act. Those forces we are considering per unit volume. So the equation 2 can be modified as Fx per unit volume. So this is also m per unit volume means mass per unit volume. So rho volume cancels. Ultimately we are getting mass only. So this is equation 3. Okay, now what are the external forces which are acting on the fluid mass when it is under the motion? Okay, let us we will discuss that. Various external forces, acting on fluid mass when it is under the motion. Under the motion. So the first force is the gravitational force, that is Fg. Okay, gravitational force. When the fluid is under the motion, a dominating force is the gravitational force. Then next is F of P, that is the pressure force, which is acting on the planes, Then next is viscous force, F of V, viscous force. Okay. Then next is turbulent force, F of T, turbulent force. Then F of C, because of compressibility force. Then F of E, that is the elastic force. So when the fluid is under the motion, these are the likely various external forces which are going to act on the fluid mass. Okay, so this is what F is the sum of the external forces, which are acting on the fluid when it is under the motion, are F of G plus F of P plus F of V plus F of T plus F of C plus F of E is equal to mass into acceleration. Mass into acceleration. As per from the equation 1, F is what? It is the sum of the external forces. It is the sum of the external forces which are acting on the fluid mass when it is under the motion. The likely various external forces are gravitational force, pressure force, viscous force, turbulent force, compressibility and elastic forces. And similarly, as per the equation 2, that is F of Gx plus, that is its rectangular component in the x direction, that is gravitational force. F of Gx is gravitational force in the x direction, that is it is the rectangular component of Fg in the x direction. So Fpx, Fvx plus Ftx plus Fcx plus Fex is equal to Max. Okay, you can call this as equation 4. Then similarly, you have Fgy plus Fpy plus Fvy plus Fty plus Fcy plus Fey is equal to May. Similarly, in the z direction, Fgz plus Fpz plus Fpvz plus Ftz plus Fcz plus Fez is equal to Maz. So you can call these as a set of equations 5. Okay, in most of the fluid motion, and the fluid is under the motion, the dominating forces Fe and Fc, that is the compressibility force and elastic forces, are very, very small as compared with gravitational force, pressure force, viscous force and the turbulent forces. So for our further analysis, you can neglect Fc and Fe. Okay, why we are neglecting Fc and why to derive the motion equation and energy equation? Because Fc, that is the compressibility force and force due to elasticity, are very, very small, which are acting on the fluid mass when it is under the motion, as compared with the Fg, Fe, Fv and Ft. So we can neglect those forces, those two forces, and considering the remaining forces. Neglecting Fc and Fe, Fc and Fc. Why? Because these forces are very, very small, very, very small as compared with Fg, Fe, Fv, Ft. So the equation 4 can be written as Fg plus F of P plus F of V plus F of T is equal to Ma, or so you can call this as equation 6, or these are the vector terms. So the rectangular component, in terms of rectangular components, F of Gx plus F of Py plus F of Vy plus F of Ty is equal to Max. F of Gy plus F of Py plus F of Vz plus F of Tz is equal to y. Ty F of Vy is equal to May. Similarly, Fgz, Fpz plus Fvz plus Ftz. So this is equal to Maz. So These set of equations are called turbulent equations, and applicable, these equations applicable for turbulent flows. Turbulent flows, that is very disturbed flows. For example, if you might have observed the flow in the river, when there is a flood in the river or in the natural stream, you can observe the flow pattern, see how it looks. It is a very disturbed flow, or it is known as the turbulent flow. So when you are analyzing the turbulent flow problems, so while deriving the motion equation and energy equation, you consider all these four forces, that is gravitational force, pressure force, viscous force and turbulent force. When the flow is viscous, when the flow is viscous, neglect turbulency or turbulent force or turbulent force. Okay, when the flow is viscous, you can neglect the effect of turbulency or turbulent force. Then the equations 7 are to be modified as FGY plus FGX plus FPX plus FVX. So these are all X, Vx plus, because neglecting the turbulency, so this is equal to MAX. Similarly, FGY plus FPY plus FVY, this is equal to MAY. FGY plus FGZ, FPZ plus FVZ is equal to MAZ. So you can call these are the set of equation 8. So these equations are called Navier-Stokes equations. Navier-Stokes equations. Okay, so while analyzing the turbulent flow pattern or turbulent flow, you can make use of equation 7. If you are analyzing the problem of viscous flow, because the viscous force is a dominating force along with the gravitational and pressure force, so you can consider, and you can neglect the turbulence force. So when the viscous forces are neglected, when viscous forces are neglected, see, when viscous forces are neglected, it means that it is ideal fluid. When the viscous forces, because every fluid or every practical fluid or real fluid is having viscosity. As we have discussed while discussing the unit 1, while discussing the property of fluid, viscosity is one of the important property. All the practical fluids have the viscosity. When you are neglecting your viscosity force also for your mathematical analysis, you can, when you are neglecting, that fluid becomes the ideal fluid. That fluid becomes the ideal fluid. So when we are neglecting the viscous forces, the equation 8 are to be modified as FGX plus FPY is equal to MAX. Then FGX, FPX is equal to m a y, f g y plus f p g y p x p y p f g z, then f p z is equal to m a z. So these are the set of equations 9. That is, here while analyzing the fluid flow problem, we are considered only two external forces, that is the gravitational force and the pressure force. So pressure force is nothing but the surface force which is going to act on the surfaces of the planes. Then the gravitational force is nothing but the volumetric force. It is the self weight. Okay, as we discussed while discussing the unit 2, the various forces acting on the fluid mass are the gravitational force or the volumetric force because of the volume of the fluid, and the force exerted by the static mass of fluid on the planes, and that force is known as the surface force. Okay, so these set of equations are called Euler's equations of motion. Okay, so the Euler's equation, so as per the syllabus, as per your syllabus, we have to derive the Euler's motion equation. So in the derivation, in the mathematical derivation of the Euler's motion equation, we are considering only two external forces, that is the volumetric force or the gravitational force and the pressure force, which are acting on the fluid mass, when it is under the motion. So based on this, we will derive the Euler's equations. So the motion equations are three types. One is the turbulent flow equations, motion equations, Navier-Stokes equations, and Euler's equations. So in the turbulent equations, turbulency force is also considered apart from gravitational force, then the pressure force, then the viscous force. Okay, neglecting the turbulency, the effect of turbulency or turbulent force, so you have only three external forces, that is the gravitational, pressure and viscosity, and or viscous forces. These set of equations are called Navier-Stokes equations. These are all the motion equations. Okay, but for the third semester fluid mechanics, as per the fluid mechanics syllabus, so only we have to derive the Euler's motion equations or Euler's equations, not the Navier-Stokes equations or turbulent equations. So when you will go for the higher classes, there we will derive the Navier-Stokes equations to analyze the viscous flow problems, and also we will discuss the turbulent flow equations while discussing the turbulent flow problems. Okay, so now let us take only Euler's motion equation. So next you can take the Euler's motion equation. So to derive the Euler's motion equation, we are considered only two external forces, that is volumetric force, then pressure force or the surface forces and volumetric forces. Okay, and the Euler's equation, the limitation of Euler's equation is, it is applicable for ideal fluids. applicable for ideal fluids. Ideal fluids are theoretical fluids, and such fluids will not exist in practice. But however, we are using the same motion equations, the Euler's equations, for the real fluids also, because mathematically there is no much difference. So basic equation what we are deriving, that is the Euler's equation, and we are considering only two external forces, volumetric forces and the surface forces. So to derive the Euler's motion equation, let us take a parallelopipe. Okay, let us take a parallelopipe. Okay. This is a parallelopipe having okay. So let this is x-axis, let this is y-axis, let it is z-axis. Okay. So this is a parallelopipe. So the length of the parallelopipe in the x direction is delta x. Okay. The length of the parallelopipe in the y direction is delta y. Similarly, the length of the parallelopipe in the z direction is delta z. Delta x, delta y, delta z are nothing but length, width and breadth or thickness. Okay. So let us take this as A, B, C, D, this point D dash, this point C dash, this point A dash, this point B dash. Okay, then next, okay, considering only two forces, that is the volumetric forces and the surface forces. So let us take the surface force. Let P is the pressure intensity, P is the pressure, small p is the pressure intensity, acting on the plane A, B, C, D, acting on the plane A, B, C, D, whose normal is in the x direction, whose normal is in the x direction. So this is the pressure intensity multiplied by area of this plane A, B, C, D. What is the area of the plane A, B, C, D? That is this height multiplied by this width, that is delta y, delta z. So this total quantity, this is gives you pressure force which is acting on the plane A, B, C and D. Now you take another plane, that is A dash, B dash, C dash and D dash. This is the plane whose normal is also in the x direction, but this plane is away from the plane ABCD by the length delta x. So the pressure intensity acting on the plane A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash is pressure intensity at point P plus variation in P, dabba P by dabba x over the length delta x. So this is the pressure intensity which is going to act on the plane A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash. This is the pressure intensity. So the pressure force is multiplied by the area of the plane. Area of the plane is delta y by delta z. So next you can take this plane D, C, C dash, D dash, D, C, C dash D dash. The normal of this plane is in the y direction. So you can write, if this is Px, this is also Px, this is also Px. So the pressure intensity acting here, it is Py, and the pressure force is area of the plane DC, C dash, D dash, that is delta X and delta Z. Now the pressure force acting on plane A, B, B dash, A dash, whose normal is also in the y direction, but this plane is away from the plane DC, C dash, D dash by the length delta y, by the length delta y. So this is Py plus dawa Py by dawa y delta y multiplied by delta x delta z, multiplied by delta x delta z. Now similarly you can take the plane whose normal is the plane A dash, D dash, D. You take the plane A dash, D dash, D, whose normal is in the z direction. That is, I will mark this force like this. This is Pz. And the surface area is delta x and delta y. Delta x and delta y. Now take the plane B dash, B dash, B dash, C dash, C, whose normal is in the z direction, but it is at a distance of delta z from the plane A dash, D dash, D. So the pressure force acting on this is dawa Pz plus dawa Pz by dawa z over the length delta z, and the pressure, the surface area is delta x delta y. So these are the various pressure forces. Now let you take capital X, capital Y, capital Z volumetric forces. Volumetric forces. This is also in x direction. In x direction. Volumetric force in y direction. Then volumetric force in z direction. In z direction. Okay. Then what is the mass per unit volume in this parallelopipe? Mass per unit volume in the parallelopipe A, B, B dash, A dash, D dash, D, C dash. That is rho delta x, delta y, delta z. Then volumetric force per unit mass, per unit volume is x rho delta x delta y delta z, or in x direction. In x direction, that is volumetric force in x direction. This is per unit mass, per unit volumetric force per unit mass in x direction. Similarly, volumetric force per per unit mass in y direction. This is equal to y rho delta x delta y delta z. Then volumetric force per unit mass in z direction is equal to z rho delta x delta y delta z. Now, what is the net pressure force acting? What is the net pressure force per unit mass acting in x direction? In x direction is the difference between these two forces. That is the force net, that is the pressure force per unit volume in the x direction. Pressure force in the x direction, that is Fpx. Fpx is equal to difference between these two, P delta y delta z. This is minus Px delta y delta z minus daba Px daba x delta y delta z. So this cancels. The net pressure force daba Px is equal to minus daba Px by daba x delta y delta z. Call this as equation 1. Similarly, in the y direction, that is Fpy. Similarly, in the y direction, that is difference between this pressure force and this. Okay, in the y direction, that is Py delta y delta z. Py delta y delta z minus Py delta y delta z minus daba Py by daba y delta x delta y delta z. So this cancels. So you are getting minus daba Py by daba y delta x delta y delta z. So this is equation 2. Similarly, Fpz I can write directly minus daba Pz by daba y delta x delta y delta z. So this is equation 3. This is equation 3. Now see, this is also body force per unit mass. This is also pressure force per unit volume. So these are the forces. That is, as per the Euler's equation, F of G plus F of P is equal to MAX or MAX. So now using the Newton's second law of motion, so we have that is the pressure force in the x direction according to Newton's second law of motion. That is, as per this equation, sum of the gravitational force and volumetric force. Okay, that is the pressure force and the volumetric force. That is Fpx or you can write f g x plus f px is equal to max, max, or rho ax, rho ax. So you can also write mass per unit volume, rho ax. So volumetric force is the Fgx. What is Fgx? In the x direction, that is x rho delta x delta y delta z plus the pressure force in the x direction, that is pressure force in the x direction is this, plus minus dabba p by dabba x, dabba p by dabba x, dabba p by dabba x, delta y, delta z. This is equal to mass. This is equal to what? Mass into acceleration. Mass into acceleration. So mass into acceleration is rho delta x delta y delta z is the mass per unit volume multiplied by ax, or this delta x y delta z, this is cancels. So x rho minus dabba p by dabba x. So this is equal to rho ax, or it is x minus 1 by rho dabba p by dabba x. This is equal to ax. Okay. Similarly, repeating the same steps, you are getting the equations in the y direction, that is y minus 1 by rho dabba p by dabba y. This is equal to ay. Then z minus 1 by rho dabba p by dabba z. This is equal to a z. So these are called Euler's equations of motion. That is x minus 1 by rho dabba px by dabba x, y minus 1 by rho dabba py by dabba y, or dabba p by dabba m. That is the pressure variation in y direction. Dabba py by dabba y is what? It is the pressure variation in the y direction. So dabba p by dabba x equal to ax. Y minus 1 by rho dabba p by dabba y is equal to ay. Z minus 1 by rho dabba p by dabba z is equal to az. So Euler's, these are called the Euler's motion equations. Euler's motion equations. So the Euler's motion equations also written in terms of in terms of velocities. Okay, as you know, ax equal to x minus 1 by rho dabba p by dabba x, dabba p by. So ax is equal to, you have u dabba u by dabba x plus v dabba u by dabba y plus v dabba, sorry, okay, w dabba u by dabba z. This is equal to x minus 1 by rho dabba p by dabba x, dabba p by dabba x. And also if it is for unsteady flow, it is plus dabba u by dabba t is equal to x minus 1 by rho dabba p by dabba x. Similarly, in y direction, ay is equal to, you have y minus 1 by rho dabba p by dabba y. This is a Euler's equation in terms of acceleration. In terms of velocities, it is again u dabba v by dabba x plus v dabba v by dabba y plus w dabba v by dava z plus dava Vy dava t is equal to y minus 1 by rho dava Py dava y. Similarly, Az is equal to z minus 1 by rho dava Py dava z, or it is u dava w by dava x plus v dava w by dava y plus w dava w by dava z plus dava w by dava t is equal to z minus 1 by rho dava Py dava z. So these are the equations, the Euler's equations in terms of velocity components, and these are the Euler's equations in terms of the acceleration components. Okay, students, this is the derivation of the Euler's motion equation. So while deriving the Euler's motion equation, the limitation of the Euler's motion equation, it is applicable for the ideal fluids, but for all practical purposes or to solve the practical problems, we are also using the Euler's motion equation. So in the Euler's motion equation, we have considered only two external forces, that is the gravitational forces or volumetric forces and the surface forces, okay, which are acting on the surfaces. Okay, so making the use of Newton's second law of motion, sum of the external forces is equal to mass into acceleration. So we have taken the sum of the external forces, that is the gravitational force and the surface force, and equated that is equal to mass into acceleration. So you are getting the Euler's equations in terms of acceleration and also Euler's motion equation in terms of velocities. Okay, we will stop here. In the next class, we will derive the Bernoulli's energy equation. So the Bernoulli's energy equation can be derived just by Euler's motion equation, making the use of Euler's motion equation, that is by integrating the Euler's motion equation. Okay, you will get the Bernoulli's energy equations, or also you can derive the Bernoulli's equation making the use of basic principle, that is law of conservation of energy. So the Euler's equation we have derived based on the basic principle, that is law of conservation of momentum, that is based on the Newton's second law of motion. That is the law of conservation of momentum. So we have derived the Euler's equation. When integrating this Euler's motion equation, we will get the Bernoulli's energy equation, or the Bernoulli's energy equation can be also derived by using the energy principle, that is energy neither created nor destroyed. That is the basic principle. Okay, so in the next class, we will derive the Bernoulli's energy equation by integrating the Euler's motion equation. Thank you. We'll stop at this, and in the next class we will derive the Bernoulli's energy equation just by integrating the Euler's motion equations. Thank you.